Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today I'm going to be venturing back into the news for some information which just came out the other day, actually yesterday. The footage you're looking at in front of you is from Unity of Command 2. I'm playing the base game with the Operation Unthinkable scenario, which is sort of a fictional scenario. As a reminder, Unity of Command 2 looks at World War II, the base game from the side of the Western Allies in their offensives against Germany. It's a turn-based war game that's really focused on logistics and is really approachable but also challenging, and I really enjoy it. We've done several series of this on the channel, between the Blitzkrieg DLC, which was the first DLC pack which came out, which focused on the early war German operations, up through essentially through the Balkans, so 39, 40, and 41. But then I also have done the Western Allied playthrough of the base game, which is sort of the Allied counteroffensives from North Africa to Sicily to Italy, and then into Western Europe, France, the Low Countries, and eventually Germany. But in this particular scenario, this is a hypothetical scenario that you can play in the American campaign or in the Allied campaign when you go down certain paths, because there is some dynamic branching of the campaign. And if you go down certain paths, you can fight this Operation Unthinkable, which is the Western Allies and the Soviet Union facing off against each other after World War II in sort of an early World War III scenario. And the reason, the long-winded reason that I'm playing this scenario here today for you is because we just got some news that came out yesterday morning about the next DLC for Unity of Command 2. And as you'd guess it, Operation Barbarossa is the topic for the second DLC pack for Unity of Command 2. So as I said, the first DLC pack was Unity of Command 2 Blitzkrieg, which focused on the German offensives in Poland, Norway, France, the Balkans. There's a hypothetical British invasion as well, Operation Sea Lion. And in Unity of Command 2 Barbarossa, which is the second DLC pack, the game is going to move to the Eastern Front. So the DLC will be released on April 21st. The price is going to be $9.99. And according to the, this is all the information we have so far, is that the DLC will allow you to command Axis forces during Operation Barbarossa from the summer of 1941 in June all the way through to the winter of 41-42 at the gates of Moscow. The DLC will include 23 historical scenarios, 23 scenario historical campaign. I'm assuming that means there will be some alternate history scenarios in there, like they did with Blitzkrieg. But it says the campaign will include 23 scenarios from Karelia in the north to the Black Sea. It also will have some. It says there are limited but still difficult to achieve alternate historical outcomes, such as capturing Moscow in late 41, so you're not strictly tied to the historical track. You can, if you do better than the Germans did historically, you might be able to take Moscow. There's also something which I don't know exactly what this means, but it says a detailed zoomed-in map for some of the hard-fought sieges like Odessa and Sevastopol. So I don't know if that means you're going to have battles that are more of like a street view rather than, Unity of Command 2 has kind of a more zoomed out look. It's, an operational map. Divisions are represented by one unit on the map. It's not, you're not looking at street by street fighting or anything like that. And so because you've got that zoomed out look, cities are usually 4, 5, 6 hexes at the most in terms of the size that they have on the battlefield. Now, in the Western Allied campaign, when you're driving into Germany, some of those battlefields are a bit larger. When you're going through the Rhine, some of those cities are a little bit larger. But to have them specifically call out the fact that there's detailed zoomed-in maps for hard-fought sieges like Odessa and Sevastopol, I'm curious what that means. When Unity of Command 2 Blitzkrieg came out, the game had a lot of new features that were really focused on enabling some of the early war German Blitzkrieg tactics that weren't really as prevalent for the Allies in the base game, and so they didn't really exist. So you had, some extra rules for headquarters. You had some abilities to overstrength units. You had some enhanced sort of supply rules, and there were several different rules. You had some new types of air attacks to sort of represent the tactical air arm of the Luftwaffe. But I don't really, maybe there's going to be some new features in here. They haven't really mentioned new features. The game says it'll include 20 new unit types, so you'll start having some new units for some of the countries like Romania, Hungary, Slovakia, Finland, Spain. Those are all going to be new countries in the game. There is no Spanish Civil War scenario in the Blitzkrieg DLC, and so perhaps this is representing the fact that Spain did send, I think it was a division, or maybe it was 2 divisions. I think actually just 1 division. I think it was the Azul division, the blue division, which fought alongside the Germans in Operation Barbarossa. And then it also says, obviously, beautiful new vehicles, new units. For the Soviets, obviously, Operation Unthinkable has some of their late war stuff, but they have never been a focus of any of the scenarios so far in the game. So there's no historical Soviet scenarios in Unity of Command today. So Barbarossa will introduce that, and as a result, you'll have new unit types like the BT-7, the T-26, the Zeus 5, probably some early war modifications of the T-34, Soviet infantry, all sorts of stuff like that. So I'm really curious to see what this looks like. They've been kind of teasing this for a little while. They've been posting on their social media from time to time about, a new map that they were working on, and the map showed it was very clearly like Eastern Europe, right? It was very zoomed out, but it was very clearly, the Eastern Front of World War II. And so I think, we kind of assumed this was coming for a little while, but this is the first sort of concrete confirmation that the next DLC pack for Unity of Command 2 is going to be Operation Barbarossa. And Unity of Command 1, the first game in the series, the base game was the operations around Stalingrad, I believe, and then they had DLCs that also looked at, I believe it was Barbarossa, and then the Soviet counteroffensives in the late war period. So the first game exclusively focused on the Eastern Front. And so it made sense that when Unity of Command 2 came out that they focused on the Western Front and the Western Allies, because they had never covered that before. But once they came out with that, I think the question was, all right, are they going to do a Unity of Command 3? Are they going to go down the DLC route? And games didn't quite have as much DLC back when the game first came out, Unity of Command 1. That was like, I think, the 2012 timeframe. But I think game models have changed a little bit. So when they came out with Blitzkrieg, it very deliberately stopped with I think the last operation in the game is Operation to take Crete, which is literally just before Barbarossa. So it seems they're taking this as a continuation of the series into the German counteroffensives. I'm curious to see if after Barbarossa they will go to Stalingrad, and then if that means then maybe they'll kind of retread over a lot of that base game for Unity of Command 1. Unity of Command 1 is still, in my opinion, a game that's definitely worth looking at and checking out. But I think a lot of the new features in Unity of Command 2 in terms of how you attack fixed positions, some of the breakthrough type attacks, there's a lot more depth to Unity of Command 2 than exists in Unity of Command 1. Unity of Command 1 was much more of a, really about logistics almost exclusively, or that was sort of the main hitch. And while logistics is still a big part of Unity of Command 2, it has a lot of other pieces that the game really leans heavily into. I feel like one of the things it really leans into is how you break through and attack fixed positions, and that feels very central to a lot of the scenarios. I do hope that it is more of a open campaign Blitzkrieg type feel for Barbarossa, because in my opinion the Blitzkrieg scenarios, other than a couple of the scenarios, they really felt more sloggy, a little bit less you broke through and now you're driving through terrain and you've got to deal with huge distances. So you should have that on the Eastern Front, but my hope is they don't do what Panzer Corps 2 did, where they just kind of throw in huge amounts of units, and then you kind of lose that sense of breakthrough and deep thrusts and all that I think is really important to getting this kind of a logistical game right. So I don't want to see them lose the logistics and kind of replace something with like becoming a slog fest of, hammering, fighting with not a lot of maneuver. But we'll see. They have some really good open maneuver scenarios in Unity of Command 2. The base game specifically, like the drive on Antwerp, the breakthrough after the breakout of Normandy. There's some just sprawling maps there, and I can only imagine what you could do with the Eastern Front. So Let's hope that's what they really lean into. 23 scenarios is a pretty good amount, especially for just $10. I'm definitely looking forward to this, and I'm definitely going to be playing this again. Unity of Command 2 Barbarossa DLC, April 21st, 2021. So a little bit less than 2 months away. And what are your guys' thoughts? Is this something you're looking forward to? Is this something that you're excited about? Again, the campaign's going to be played from the perspective of the Germans, which makes sense. These games have never really been great modeling the defensive. Their strength has always been putting you in the shoes of the player with the initiative and then having the AI respond. I don't think the AI is terribly good at formulating large attacks. Counterattacks, yes, but I don't know if I'd trust the AI in this game to be on the offensive and me be on the defensive, sort of as a scenario. But that shouldn't be too much of an issue because of, again, the period of time and the perspective of the campaign is focusing on the Germans. Anyway, guys, I know this is a little bit on the shorter end, but I don't want to drag it out any more. I don't want to drag this video out more than necessary. So, as I said, let me know your thoughts down below. I'm particularly interested to see how this plays out. I know Unity of Command 2 Blitzkrieg, we played a lot on the channel, and it was very challenging. I was able to get through the historical path, but I was never able to trigger the invasion of Britain. That was very difficult to do. There's a very set criteria in order to unlock those scenarios. And so, I was live streaming it a bunch on the channel not that long ago, and then I went back and I tried to live stream it again, and I still was struggling to get there. So, maybe I'm just not very good at the game, but I'm curious to see, it's probably, I would imagine, going to be that difficult to take Moscow as well, so we'll see. But anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts about Unity of Command 2 Blitzkrieg. Until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying thank you for watching, and until next time, I'm out.